You're looking at Marianne Williamson, the best-selling author, political activist, and spiritual thought leader. Over 3 decades, she has been a leader in spiritual and religiously progressive circles. The author of 15 books, including A Return to Love. Who didn't have that book around the house, right? More recently, she has run for office. She ran for Congress. In 2020, she ran for the presidency and made the debates and really made some interesting points. Take a look.
We don't have a health care system in the United States. We have a sickness care system in the United States. We just wait till somebody gets sick, and then we talk about who's going to pay for the treatment and how they're going to be treated. What we need to talk about is why so many Americans have unnecessary chronic illnesses, so many more compared to other countries.
Hey, interesting point. Marianne Williamson, welcome to Newsmax. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So, real quick on that question, why is it that we have all these problems, these illnesses that other countries don't have?
Well, for one thing, we have carcinogens and other toxins in our food, in our water, in our ground, much more than other countries. You know, if you look at the ingredients in a ketchup bottle in Canada compared to the ingredients in a ketchup bottle in the United States. Another example, of course, is our water. It is reported that PFAS, or forever chemicals, are in something like, I read, 46% of American water. You know, in Merrimack, New Hampshire, there's a company from France called Saint-Gobain that regularly spews PFAS into the water in that area. What's interesting to me is that they would not be allowed to do this. It would be legally impossible for them to do this in France. And like in many situations, companies that are told in their countries, oh, you can't do that, that would be unhealthy, you can't spew that carcinogen, you can't include that ingredient, so that's okay, I'll go over to the United States and I'll buy a company there. And this is happening. We are so deregulated when it comes to the ingredients in our food and so forth, because the profits for these companies is placed before the health and well-being of the American people. This is a systemic issue, and American people are waking up to it.
So Joe Biden's the president. He's the Democrat nominee. Or no, he's not yet. He was. He's not yet. You're running. How are you going to take Joe out? And tell us a little bit about what you think is wrong with his presidency so far.
Well, you know, the president is taking an incremental approach to ameliorating the stress that so many people feel living in this country. We've got 1 in 4 Americans who are living with medical debt. We have 1/3 of our people living on less than $15 an hour, half of them unable to even find a home here. We have 85 million people who are uninsured or underinsured. We have 25%. We have half of our senior citizens living on less than $25,000 a year. So if you are in the top 20% of earners in the United States, the economy is doing quite well. But that 20%, it's like we're living on an island surrounded by a vast sea of economic despair. So the president is taking an incremental approach to ameliorating these conditions, but I believe we need fundamental economic reform. And the things that my agenda stands for are considered moderate positions in every other advanced democracy and represents things that the citizens in every other advanced democracy have. Universal health care, tuition-free college and tech school, paid family leave, and a guaranteed living wage. This is fundamental reform, and people on the both left and the right are recognizing that there's no reason why they have those things in other countries and we don't have them in ours.
Now, look, I happen to be a conservative, and some of those issues I don't agree with, but I think you're, quite frankly, a force for good, and you speak out, and I liked it when you were on that stage. And maybe we would agree on this. I think the media has been tough. They don't tell the truth. I notice with you, they like to dwell on superficial things and inside baseball. And I think they're a real cancer in America. Speaking of carcinogens earlier, give us your sense of the media in America today, please.
Well, it's exactly what you just said. It has more to do with what we get clicks. It has more to do with what, you know, if it bleeds, it leads. It's a kind of gotcha mentality. And this is why some of the best and the brightest people in America don't even want to run for office, because who wants to be exposed to that? It's not just scrutiny, it's smear. When there are so many people they basically chop the wood and carry the water for whichever political candidate or political party they're interested in, and stoop to the most unethically low levels in order to try to take out of the conversation the people that they don't want to be there. It's bad for our democracy. Like you said, it's way beyond whether we're conservative or liberal. And for that matter, you know, President Eisenhower said, yet the American mind at its best is both liberal and conservative. You know, I think the worst part of this media narrative is that we have to be just all one or the other and polarized all the time. I don't think anybody has a monopoly on the truth. I think there are high-minded conservative principles and there are high-minded liberal principles. And often we have to remind each other about what they are. And I think, as you're saying, the media did this. Too much of the mainstream media has cultivated this gotcha, adversarial mentality that's really very, very destructive to the public sector. And I'm glad that so many of us are concerned about it, although I'm even more concerned at how many people have just turned off to politics because of it.
Now, respectfully, it might take a miracle for you to pull this off, but you know all about miracles, and I believe miracles happen. And but you would need support from Trump voters to become president of the United States. You would. And, you know, a lot of folks, myself included, really like him. We like the policies. We even like the style. But for those out there, you know, if you got the nomination, let's say, make your case to the Trump voters. Why should they pick you?
Well, I have heard a lot of Trump voters actually say to me that they would be interested in my candidacy. I want an America that's true to the values on which we purport to stand. I think that the Declaration of Independence should be our North Star. And when we allow it to be, this country does very well. And when we neglect those principles, we falter. All men are created equal. God gave all men the inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Governments were instituted to secure those rights, and when the government's not doing its job, it's the right of the people to alter it or abolish it. Those are the principles that I believe should guide public policy. And I believe public policy should help people thrive in their lives, not so often thwart people's dreams for being as creative and productive as they might be. When you have 70% of Americans who report that they live with chronic economic stress, that means neither political party is doing what it should be doing to provide enough access to enough people to the blessings of our democracy.
Marianne Williamson, thank you for being here. For more information, everybody can go to Marianne2024.com. Marianne, Marianne, 2024.com. Good luck, and thanks for being with us.